Hello and welcome. My name is BY Gaming here, or Tyrone, and welcome to a Fallout 76 Wastelanders update first impressions. So I've been waiting to do a bit of this first impressions video, and I thought for a while I wasn't going to be going back to YouTube doing a video for this, but I decided to just collect my thoughts on it, and since I put a lot of hours into the game, I decided just to why not just share my insight on the update itself and possibly some things that can improve. And I'll have more of a review of the whole updates later on when I do a more second playthrough, because I want to do multiple playthroughs of this because I have another character I can run through that's a little bit leveled up, that's not going to have to be gated by a lot of the vanilla content, but still I have a high level character that's almost level 75, almost level 75. But anyways though, getting into the actual update itself. So the update itself has been decent with performance, kind of the game update itself. The performance itself has been kind of decent. It's the bugs have been kind of still there and prevalent. It still has FPS issues. There's a lot of things that still need to be fixed within the game, and I feel like they're getting there. It's a lot better than it was at launch. From day one players, I think we can definitely attest to that. Saying that, I even say that not even at the day one players, the beta, the BE, the break it early test beta, whatever. That type of shit was like a horrible fucking mess. And I even heard before then at the White Springs resort event, when they did it there, when they showed it off there, the frame rate was absolutely terrible. So it's a lot better than what it was then, and I think that now it's definitely come a long way to where it's definitely playable. I don't know how the performance is on the console. Otherwise, I would probably test it on the console, but I don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation anymore. I have been playing this on my PC, and the PC performance has been kind of decent, and it jumps its frame rates, it still stutters a little bit, but it's definitely not as bad as it used to be, and it's more playable than ever, I think, in my personal opinion. But it definitely still needs work. It's not perfect. So moving on to the dialogue system. Dialogue system is basically very similar to Fallout 4's and New Vegas in a sense. That's Fallout 4, how you're able to say the yes, no, and gather more information about the quest and some other things. It's very generic 4 choice options, and those are kind of there within the dialogue system. And what's different though is that, and it kind of includes New Vegas's skill check system in a sense, that I think New Vegas did the best, because you're able to have things like, for example, faction with, let's say, Kaiser's Legion or the NCR, and use that in your speak checks and stuff like that to influence things and get things in your scenario. And you kind of sort of get that with your special system though, because it's more attuned to your special points. So if you have high intelligence, you can make a very intelligent response to a scientist or to a certain person to reason with them. But sometimes it's not always the best choice, because sometimes it actually will work against you sometimes as well, which is kind of cool. I like that, but it's not amazing, and definitely isn't the best dialogue system within the series. I think that definitely New Vegas still has the best dialogue system in the game, no doubt. But I think that they're getting there slowly but surely. They're getting to better writing and better dialogue throughout the Fallout franchise, which, as a Fallout fan, I really want, and I'm really excited to see it back in regardless. So let's see. So going from there, the quests in the game, I want to say, are a little bit underwhelming, in the sense that they don't allow you to have the amount of impact that you would want in a Fallout game. So that is a bit of a limitation when it comes to the MMO side, which I'll talk to in my next section of this video. But I feel like the quest that the Wastelanders update that they bring though have been the best quests within Fallout 76 so far. That's not to say though that Fallout 76 has the best quests in the Fallout franchise. No, that's dead wrong. I think that Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and definitely New Vegas have all better quests. And even, I would even say fucking Fallout 1 and 2 have better quests than Fallout 76, definitely. But they are making an effort, and I can definitely see with the story, I didn't play so much of the main story of the Wastelanders update because I was a lot of exploring Appalachia and the map itself and seeing the changes and just generally leveling up my character. But what little did play with the Overseer and finally meeting that bitch that kept on running on us, and just like, God, man, finally feels good to actually meet her. And then seeing the raiders at the crater, and I think the settlers at Foundation. I haven't actually not been to those two locations. It's weird because I've been completely avoiding that side of the game so far, due to me wanting to make a video on it, but also because I think that right now I wouldn't be exactly satisfied from what I was hearing anyways, the amount of length the quests are. But that's fine, because I think that Fallout 76 is improving on its quest. They're trying to actually provide decent quests that have better gameplay scenarios, but it's not exactly the best quest and the best things, which kind of leads into my next factor, which is the MMO factor of this game. The MMO factor provides a lot of issues with the game, in a sense that you have to consider that this is a massive multiplayer online game, in a sense that you're limited to what you can do in that type of scenario compared to single player games, which have a lot more creativity and flexibility with their questing and what you can do scripting wise and everything. The amount of impact you can show to a player in a single player game is more prevalent and more there than it is going to be in an MMO game sometimes, which I think that there is events and there is things that 76 can do to provide that type of fantasy for players that want it in a Fallout franchise, rightfully so. And I think that there has to be through like big player event quests, like world quests, like stuff like that can possibly change the world, and that can change your server temporarily or whatever, and provide new things to explore or new areas and new enemies to encounter, stuff like that. And that would really provide that impact that people are looking for. Although temporarily, it's cool, and I think that it's something that is very similar to what the nuke system that they have in the game, where you drop a nuke in the Cranberry Bog and you can spawn the Scorch Beast Queen and such, which I like, and I think that they should expand on that by doing other systems like that, but not just nuking an area. But yeah, I think the MMO factor is basically why this game has some limitations, and pales in comparison with its questing, with other Fallout games, and even its gameplay scenarios pale in comparison to some other Fallout games, because you can't have completely unique bosses, which they have been. It's just kind of weird though, because they've been kind of doing that a little bit though with the Wendigo Colossus, with its panic mechanic that it causes when it like screams, I think, and then it causes you to panic and run away uncontrollably. Like you can literally not control, and your character just runs off away from it, which is cool. And I like that there's some mechanics to it, and it provides a little bit of reason to actually go hunt the Wendigo Colossus, which is awesome. And then they definitely need more bosses and more gameplay scenarios like that are in other games, like for example Destiny, having like raid bosses and such, and like world bosses that people all come around to play and to check out and to kill to get the loot and everything, which they do. That's one of the main motivations in this game at this point, is loot and legendary weapons and some other plans and items that you can gather for your camp. So that's one of the fantasies that they definitely need to dive into more and really bring into. But moving from there, finally over to the actual Appalachia map update. So the Appalachia map has been updated with new locations. I've been to a couple. I've been to the Deep, which has been so far my favorite one, where you're able to explore in these little caverns as it kind of leads into these little dens, and then this little glowy cave part of the area where it kind of has like hints at like aliens and such. But then you go over there to the communist side, and you get to see the remnants of Chinese communists, and they do speak Chinese, which is cool. So it's like really fucking cool scenarios, and they're all hostile, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of cool and crazy, and I like that too as well. So it's just really cool. The only thing I do dislike though is that they're not alive, in the sense that they're not human. They're all ghouls, which I find to be kind of stupid. I personally think that that kind of ruined that type of scenario with those characters. If they were alive and they were Chinese, and possibly you could do quests for them in the future, or a quest for Chinese operatives in the future, that would be fucking awesome. They kind of just cut that off, which I don't know. Well, they kind of cut it off. They could still do it and add NPCs later on, but I hope that they do take advantage of this whole war between China and the U.S. during in the Fallout universe, of course, not in the real world. But anyways, though, moving on to that. From that, though, you're able to when you're exploring the map, though, you're able to find things such as NPC allies that you're able to send back to your camp that provide daily quests or new quests that are not repeatable but are very fleshed out and fun. There's Beckett, and I think another one named Sophia are the big ones that kind of have a lot of questing to do for them, a lot more story dive. I've been doing a little bit of Beckett, and I enjoyed what I had of him. I liked his voice acting so far too as well. It was very eccentric when you had encountered him. I think it was in the Savage Divide. And then I haven't done Sophia yet either. I've been waiting to do hers as well, because I want to get through Beckett and then go through Sophia to have the kind of full experience and whatnot throughout that, which definitely I want to kind of go through in a review. But anyways, though, you can have a chance to encounter raiders, which is fun, and it makes to feel the world alive. Raiders patrolling throughout the area, settlers as well, and other NPC vendors that you can encounter and trade with and such. And generally, Appalachia feels alive in a sense. It still feels big and empty like a wasteland, which I feel a little okay with, but I think that there's some areas that they definitely need to add pockets of NPCs. I don't think they need to fill out the whole fucking map full of NPCs and such, but there's definitely a good amount of areas and places that they definitely need to patch up and flesh out a lot more with NPCs, which I think they will in the future with future updates, which is awesome, I hope. But anyways, though, finally, moving on to the Atomic Shop. So, Atomic Shop stuff is still a lot of bullshit, I personally think that if you're gonna buy anything from the Atomic Shop, it's not bad in a sense, because I think that Bethesda has been actually actively trying to add and provide challenges that are a lot more obtainable for you within the weekly and daily. So therefore making atoms a lot more obtainable, which is great, because that means that you're able to actually have a reason to grind for a cosmetic in a sense. I mean, if you want a power armor skin and you have a certain amount of time, you'll start motivating yourself to come on to do your dailies and your weeklies and such, which is a good motivation. It kind of sucks though, because it reminds me of the Destiny 2 problem, where the only motivation was to get like bright dust and everything like that, just to get things in the Eververse, which is really annoying for that game. And I feel like that's still a big annoyance that really doesn't get a lot of attention here on the Fallout 76 side, which is maybe it's because you can earn some of the currency, but you could earn some of the currency also in Destiny. So it kind of makes me think like, okay, what the heck, man? There's still issues going on with that game with its microtransactions, but it's neither here or there. The only reason why I brought up the comparison was because people don't make that big of a fuss for some of the goddamn cosmetic prices in this game. They don't make big enough fucking A, dude. Can I say fuss? Like, I cannot say that. Jesus. I'm gonna leave that in. The video. But anyways, though, basically, though, dailies, weeklies, you can grind them out. They're definitely more obtainable. Atoms are a lot more obtainable. It's definitely a lot more better than it was before the Wastelanders update, but there's still some things that they definitely need to do, especially in the side of challenges that are remaining. I think they need to update the world, the social, like a lot of those challenges need to be updated, and they need to add a lot more to them. Especially going towards like the actual Wastelanders update, which I noticed there's not that much of when it comes to the Wastelanders update. There's a lot of challenges that kind of correlate with like special checks and some other things like that. Just very little ones and such, which I think they definitely need to add in the game. But anyways, though, I guess kind of wrapping up my thoughts on this all, because this video is getting quite long. But basically, so far the update, I do like it. There's a lot of issues that still need to be addressed, like the gameplay stuff, perks, that perk system needs to be fucking overhauled, and just other mechanics in the game that just need to be desperately overhauled. It's what the update made me realize when you get into it, because you really start enjoying it, but you see the limitations of the old vanilla Fallout 76 kind of crop up with its quest and some of its gameplay scenarios. And then those crop up and those kind of get in your way, in which I feel like they just, once they do the one Appalachia update, which basically scales everything to your level, and to that basically means that it'll scale to your level if you're playing alone, or even with you're playing with other people. For them it will be level 5, and for you it will be like a level 50, so it'll be scaling to people, which is cool. And I just can't wait to be playing that update, 'cause that sounds like awesome. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But there's definitely things like the perk system, which definitely needs to be overhauled, in a sense that I think it needs to be like, some of the perks just don't need to be there anymore as perks, and I think they should just instead go back to the original Fallout stuff and dive deeper into Fallout systems, and reviving them, bringing back some of the skill systems from Fallout, the original Fallouts. Because if you think about it, we haven't had skills since Fallout New Vegas, like, technically, and Fallout 4 didn't have them. They only had basically the same thing as perk cards almost, but more perk columns. But yeah, anyways though, I think that's kind of wraps up the whole video and wraps up my whole thoughts on the whole Fallout 76 Wastelanders update, my first impressions so far. I'm definitely going to be putting in a lot more hours, especially within the story. We're going to be recording it. Heard there's a lot of issues with some of the raider side of the questing, but I'll definitely talk about that when it's in my review, when I have a review coming out. But anyways though, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's been a while since I've done one. Definitely going to be doing some more since I feel a little bit more motivated to do so. So I feel like actually refreshed it a little bit. I apologize if my commentary sounds a little bit kind of out of whack, essentially, too, as well, since I'm kind of, again, coming back to grips with this, since I feel like I can come back to grip with this and do this once again, since I have time. But anyways, though, with all that said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. My name is Bebot Gaming here, or Tyrone, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.